Chapter 21, a small episode in the flying class. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The flying lesson was held on the lawn right outside the Hogwarts gates. On their way, Bernard gave Adam a strange look, noticing how unfazed he was amidst the excitement. "Aren't you hyped about flying lessons?" Adam always struck him as a muggle-born wizard playing pretend. He seemed curious about magic, sure, but also strangely indifferent. After spending some time together, he figured out Adam just had his own way of looking at things, but he still couldn't quite grasp it. This was flying, for crying out loud. "It's not that I'm not interested. Flying's cool, but it's just not very practical for me," Adam said, shrugging. "I'm not gonna hop on a broom to get to my parents' diner." "Yeah, good point." Bernard nodded. He wasn't exactly inheriting a family fortune himself, but Adam's words made him wonder if he should even fully commit to the wizarding world down the line. Their flying instructor was Madame Hooch, also the referee for Hogwarts Quidditch. She had short, gray hair and the sharp, yellow eyes of a hawk. "Everyone, stand next to a broomstick. What are you waiting for? Let's go, chop chop." That she was clearly a no-nonsense kind of woman. Standing by his broomstick, Adam examined it. The bristles at the tail were a bit frayed, some even looked broken. He hoped it wouldn't mess with his flying later. Madame Hooch scanned the group, making sure everyone was in place, then barked, "Right hand over the broom, and say, up." Up, the broomstick immediately jumped into Adam's hand. While some of the other students may have struggled at first because they were overeager, they all eventually got their brooms to respond. Everyone looked thrilled, clutching their broom handles. "Hold your horses. We need to cover some basics before you actually take off." Madame Hooch began explaining how to hold the broom correctly and how to stay on without falling off. She moved among them, correcting postures. "Stand up straight. Leaning too far forward will send your broom shooting off before you're ready." Madame Hooch patted Bernard on the back, then stopped in front of Adam. "Good, good. Comfortable grip. If you want to play Quidditch, you can't be holding on with both hands, now." "What is Quidditch, exactly?" Bernard blurted out. He'd overheard his classmates talking about it yesterday, but couldn't get a word in. "It's a sport played on broomsticks with balls and such. You can read Quidditch Through the Ages. I have a copy on my bookshelf. I'll check it out when I get back to the dorm." "All right, now. Stay in this position and remember what I just told you. Hold the broom steady, rise a few feet, lean forward slightly, and come straight back down. When I blow the whistle, push off the ground hard, kick off hard." Madame Hooch stood at the front of the group, silver whistle in hand, eyeing the students before her. "Listen for my whistle. 3, 2, 1. With a sharp whistle blast, Adam kicked off, and soared into the air. Riding a broom was a novel experience, even though Adam had braced himself. His heart pounded in his chest. Suddenly, there was a commotion nearby. One of the students had gotten overexcited and was wobbling all over the place. Madame Hooch ordered him down and gave him a stern lecture. After enjoying the spectacle, Adam refocused on himself. He took a few deep breaths, then started to test the broom's controls. Up, down, touching down. Adam hopped off the broom, eyes gleaming. Okay, he had to admit, flying on a broom was pretty fun. He wondered what it would feel like to fly with wings. Maybe it was time to accelerate his winged research. Whoa! Back on solid ground, Bernard wobbled a bit as he dismounted. His legs seemed shaky, and his face was a little pale, but his eyes were alight. "Flying on a broom is unbelievable. I never thought I'd actually fly, I mean, without being in some metal contraption, right? The shell of an aircraft isn't actually made of iron, but yeah, I agree with the previous part." Adam turned to see Cologne careening through the air, flying diagonally down toward him, a look of sheer panic on his face. Adam's pupils constricted, and an invisible magic circle formed under his feet. Bang! With a thud, Cologne slammed into the air right in front of Adam, as if he'd hit a brick wall. Luckily, he had lost control of his broomstick, and the speed dropped suddenly. Cologne merely tumbled off his broom a few feet above the ground. What did I just say? Madame Hooch rushed over, grabbed Cologne, and checked him over. Assured that he was unharmed, she said angrily, rise a few feet, lean forward slightly, and come straight back down. I don't care what fancy moves you think you know, in my class, you do it my way. One more stunt like that, and you'll be in detention. Releasing Cologne, Madame Hooch glared at the rest of the class, her voice laced with warning. And that goes for all of you. Madame Hooch continued explaining how to move forward and backward in the air, and then the class ended, instructing everyone to remember her instructions. She would be testing them during the next class, and those who failed would not be permitted to fly. You okay? Adam walked over to Cologne. Yeah, I'm fine, just my nose is a little sore. Cologne didn't dwell on the strange moment when his broom seemed to lose control and slam into thin air, dismissing it as a trick of the mind from the panic of losing control of the broom. What happened back there? Well. Cologne's eyes darted around. I remembered those Quidditch moves I saw in the paper, and thought I'd try a pose, but it didn't really work. Shouldn't you be glad you didn't try the Wronski feint? Uther scoffed, overhearing Cologne's explanation. I'm not stupid. And I know I screwed up, okay? I was just scared when the broom went nuts. Chapter 22 Effective Learning Makes Me Happy. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The flying class accident was nothing major, most people shrugged it off even when it happened. After all, even professional Quidditch players have accidents, sometimes fatal ones, not to mention beginners on broomsticks. Any bad vibes from the incident were gone before lunch. Hey, Adam. Wanna watch the Quidditch team practice? They're working on new plays today. Cologne burst into the dorm to find Adam writing and petting his kittens. Cologne already knew Adam would say no. Sure enough, Adam said without looking up, nah, you go. I'm not really into Quidditch practice. Watching the games is one thing. The game balance sucks, but it's action-packed, and usually has some rough stuff mixed in. No wonder it's the most popular sport with wizards, but practices seem super boring, just repetitive drills like catching balls or snagging high-speed quaffles. Adam went once and was done. If he had free time, he might go for a walk, but he didn't have time right now. Hey, Adam, come on. I thought you finished all your homework. What's this? Cologne hovered behind Adam and noticed the writing on the parchment seemed to be dancing, making him dizzy. It's a potions paper. When his quill ran out of ink mid-word, Adam calmly cast a spell to refill it. Potions paper. That's not homework. Why are you writing it? Remember when I went to Professor Snape after potions class the other day with some questions? He said if I could prove I knew my stuff, I wouldn't have to redo the potions we already mastered in class. I could work on advanced stuff instead. Then he tossed me a copy of Advanced Potion Making. Adam patted the book beside him. The potions knowledge in advanced potion making is way beyond first-year syllabus, but it's only a tough problem for Adam. He figures Professor Snape probably just wants to scare him, but even if the paper isn't a masterpiece, as long as he says something worthwhile, Snape might let him brew potions different from the others after giving him a hard time. But Adam still wants to give it his best shot and see if he can impress Snape. I don't get you nerds. Cologne figured he could get out of homework, but instead Adam just got out of regular homework for something harder. He quickly backed away from the parchment. Okay, Bernard and I will go check it out. Alright, watch out for flying balls. Don't ask. It's happened before, though not to anyone in Hufflepuff. Adam spent 2 more days perfecting his paper, inspecting and revising it 3 times, before finally copying the final draft neatly onto parchment in beautiful handwriting. All the parchments connected together were 4 feet long. After seeing the thick stack of parchment on his desk, Professor Snape was quiet for a long time before saying, "A pile of words does not improve the quality of a paper, Mr. Reed." "I know, Professor. I tried to use fewer words." Adam shrugged. His paper used advanced potion making as a starting point and laid out his understanding of potions. Honestly, writing the paper seemed to improve his potions knowledge. Sometimes he'd go back and revise it after finishing, Otherwise he wouldn't have revised it so many times before completing it. Professor Snape picked up the paper for a quick look. He flipped to the first page and started to turn it, but after a few lines, he frowned and went back to the first line to read every word. "You can go back. I'll find you when I'm done reading." After reading the first paragraph, Professor Snape put down the paper and said this. "Okay, thanks, Professor Snape." Professor Snape had been through a lot with Adam and built up a tolerance. At first, when he saw Adam's appearance, which was completely different from other students in front of him, Professor Snape would frown, turn his head, and feel a little disgusted, but now Professor Snape can nod naturally. Walking out of Professor Snape's office, Adam stroked his chin and thought. Could he get other professors to do the same to speed up his learning? Turning wizard spells into mage magic was going slowly because of his limited magical knowledge, but he was learning spells super fast. Hogwarts has a top-notch faculty. Except for the defense against the dark arts professor, all the teachers are industry leaders. It's a waste not to take advantage of it, he thought. Even Dumbledore uses his relationship with Fawkes to ask him for visits after learning the Portkey charm. No reason to miss the chance to pick the brains of other professors. It'll be harder after graduation, so, on that sunny afternoon, Adam walked into each professor's office with the enthusiasm of someone rushing to a sale at the supermarket, and returned with a stack of big books. "Adam, did you go to the library?" That when Adam got back, Uther was the only one in the dorm. He looked surprised. "I just came back from the library. I didn't see you there. These aren't library books." Adam put the books on his nightstand and arranged them neatly. "I borrowed them from the professors." "Professor? Which professor?" "Lots of professors. Professor McGonagall gave me this one, Professor Flitwick gave me these two, and Professor Sprout gave me this one." Wait. Did you go to some professor book exchange?" "Why would they lend you books?" "Because I thought the class content was a little slow. I want to learn more." Uther hesitated, looking like he wanted to ask, "Are you serious?" Finally, he said, "Did they agree?" "You could say that. Professor McGonagall and the others wanted me to study the basics first, but I convinced them." Adam blinked and decided to skip the details, like turning a teacup in Professor McGonagall's office into a crowned parrot, or demonstrating silent and wandless levitation for Professor Flitwick, that kind of thing. Professor Sprout was the hardest to convince, but after some gentle and not-so-gentle persuasion, the kind which reluctantly gave Adam a book after testing him and agreed to let him help care for mandrakes in Greenhouse 3 on weekends. "That's a lot. Can you even learn all that?" Uther felt a headache just looking at the pile of books. "It's cool. I've been studying on my own anyway, and I still have time to hang out with you, right? Now that I have the professors guiding me, I'm not studying more, but I'm learning way more than when I was doing it myself." Sprout wasn't in his bed. Adam picked up Xiao Ku and scratched him under the chin. "Effective learning makes me happy. Unlike boring memorization of facts you'd never use in the real world, learning magic is like fitness. It's addictive. The feeling of improving yourself is totally fascinating. Whatever makes you happy." Chapter 23 Halloween is coming. You are listening at novelfull.audio. With help from several professors, Adam's life finally settled into a healthier, more regular routine. Hogwarts made coursework easy because each course only had one professor. All 8 subjects had a big class once a week, which worked out to 2 sessions. Even though Adam was getting tutoring after class in 6 subjects, everything except flying and history of magic, he was still more relaxed than he'd been back in college. His roommates, though, saw him as being under nearly twice the pressure they were. He was always heading to the library or somewhere to work on his own projects, but still found time to play wizard's chess, watch Quidditch practice, and even study up on potion recipes. "Hey, Adam, you sure you're not overdoing it?" Cologne watched Adam put down his book, a little hesitant. "You don't have to go if you're tired." "Nah, I'm good. Just reading, that's how I chill out." Cologne glanced at the book's cover. Advanced potion making, yeah, right, that didn't exactly scream relaxation, but what was up with the book? It looked like it had been through a war. Cologne knew Adam babbied his books. Adam tucked Xiao Ku and SPI into his pockets, grabbed his bag, and headed to the dorm door. He turned back to Cologne, who hadn't moved. Come on, we said we'd meet them, right? Don't want to keep them waiting. When Adam and Cologne got there, most of the crew had already arrived. Did it start yet? Adam asked, plopping down next to Cedric. The Hufflepuff Quidditch team was still mostly seniors, and Cedric wasn't the seeker yet. Almost, they're just about to start. Cedric said, eyeing Adam's bag. Other students saw Adam and started crowding around. Adam got the hint. He pulled out a stack of plastic containers. All right, hold your horses. Let's see, raspberry nut cookies, chocolate chip, caramel, salted rose. The boxes disappeared fast, replaced by a pile of silver sickles in Adam's bag. Drinks, anyone? BYOC, as usual. Suddenly a bunch of cups appeared in front of Adam. So, Adam, what's on the menu next time? Popcorn, it's been a while. Adam refilled his own cup with Coke, thinking. Awesome. I love that plain white popcorn, the kind made with rice. Could you make a bunch of that? I'm all about the caramel corn. No problem. Even Adam wasn't entirely sure how his snack shop had gotten started. At first, he just figured he'd want something to munch on during Quidditch practice, so he brought extra for his roommates, then for other classmates he knew, and then, well, it just snowballed. Hogwarts ovens were huge, and Adam could only manage one oven load at a time, so he just made as much as he could. It was all a matter of waving his wand, and the ingredients were all from the Hogwarts kitchen, so Adam hadn't really thought about charging anything. Besides, this was Hufflepuff. As long as these guys didn't bite the dust in the next 7 years, they'd be important players in the wizarding world. Getting them hooked on his food could be a great way to set himself up for opening a franchise in the wizarding world down the line, but then the first student felt bad and gave Adam a couple of silver sickles, and suddenly everyone started paying, and just like that, Adam went from bringing a small stash to Quidditch practice to having regular business hours, and from making whatever he felt like to announcing what he'd be making next time, and then he was selling drinks like Coke too, now. Adam's snack shop was basically a Hufflepuff institution, and it was even starting to bleed over into the other houses, all thanks to the ripple effect of a single question. What are you eating? Gimme some. That when Quidditch practice finally got going, the Badgers were all set with a drink and a cookie, ready to cheer on their team. Speaking of which, Halloween's next week, Cologne said, cheeks full, somehow still managing to talk clearly. Really? I'm terrible with dates. Adam was breaking up his cookie into tiny pieces for Xiao Ku and Sibby. He blinked at that. Halloween already? Wow, this year's almost over. Haven't you noticed it's getting colder? Not really, but yeah, it does seem like it's raining more, and the wind's been pretty rough. Suddenly, a cheer went up. Adam and Cologne looked over to see the keeper make an awesome save. The increasingly wild atmosphere made them stop talking and focus on the action on the field. Adam really was bad with dates. It wasn't until he woke up to the overwhelming smell of pumpkin that he realized Halloween was actually here. Maybe I should make some candy. Adam sat on the small couch, stroking his chin, thinking. Yes. The candy will be a hit. Cologne, who had just woken up, was instantly energized. Pretty sure you just want to eat it yourself. Bernard muttered. Hey, no classes this morning. Where are you off to? Uther, who was applying eyeliner in the mirror, looked confused as Bernard headed for the door. Library, gonna do some reading. Bernard said, then was gone. Uther blinked at the closed door. Something's up. Has Bernard been going to the library a lot lately, or is it just me? Has he? Yeah, I think so. But there's nothing weird about going to the library, right? Eugene and Adam are always there, aren't they? Eugene, who was happily munching on Adam's dried fish, nodded. True. Uther shrugged it off and went back to his eyeliner. To celebrate Halloween, Adam decided to make a boatload of candy. This time, he skipped the kitchen and went straight to Gamp's Law. Speaking of which, cookies are also sweets that can be made directly with Gamp's Law, right? So why do you always bake them step by step, Adam? Xiaoku reached out a paw and pulled a clear, round candy closer. Inside, it was filled with a pumpkin-shaped goo. Because every time I bake cookies, the taste and texture are a little different. Gamp's Law can't do that. Plus, I really enjoy the process of making good food. Adam pinched his index finger and thumb, sprinkling crystal powder to turn the conjured rows of candies into the real deal. Then he paused. Although, let's be real, magic does most of the work. Even when I bake, it's not that tiring. That's probably a big part of it. I'm too lazy to make candies from scratch this time. So, do you guys prefer Gampai, or step by step? Well. Xiaoku was still thinking when Sebai piped up, as long as Adam makes it, I love it. What? Xiaoku froze, turning to face Sebai. Sebai was sticking his head out of the pumpkin head Adam was planning to use as a candy bowl, giving him a sly grin. Xiaoku threw down his candy and dove into the pumpkin head with a loud oomph. The lid slammed shut instantly. When Adam turned around, he only saw two tails sticking out of the pumpkin's eye sockets, wriggling like crazy. Looks like someone's got a sugar rush. Ah, well, if the pumpkin gets messed up, I can just fix it like before. Let M go wild. Chapter 24 Hufflepuff's Own Halloween Dinner. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Probably because he's gotten so used to the easy life at Hogwarts, Adam's forgotten that it's supposed to be the safest school in the world. Troll, in the dungeon, thought you ought to know. Professor Quirrell collapsed with a thud, and for a few seconds, the great hall was dead silent. Then, all hell broke loose. Adam, who was busy enjoying his pumpkin pie, set down his fork and just stared in disbelief. A troll. How could something like that even get into Hogwarts? Cologne blurted out. Suddenly, a series of loud crashes drew everyone's attention. Quiet. Professor Dumbledore shot off a bunch of fireworks with his wand and then amplified his voice with a charm. Once he had everyone's attention, he announced, "Prefects, get your houses back to their dormitories, now. It's just a giant monster. Any professor could take it down, right? Why ruin Halloween dinner for this?" Bernard grumbled on the way back. The troll itself isn't the problem. It's why it's here. Trolls don't exactly sneak in unnoticed. Someone had to bring it in, Uther pointed out calmly. Someone's planning something, and they're using the troll to do it. That's just great. I've been looking forward to this dinner all month, and I only got one bite of pumpkin pie. Cologne whined, covering his face. Think I could sweet-talk the house elves into giving me the leftovers. Do they even recycle the food from the Great Hall? Unfortunately for Cologne, Bruce blocked him from leaving the group, even just for a quick trip to the kitchens. Cologne wasn't the only hungry badger with the same idea. Guys, I'm sorry, but there's been an incident at the school, and Professor Dumbledore's ordered me to make sure none of you leave my sight. Please don't make this difficult for me, okay? Bruce pleaded sincerely. The Hufflepuffs, unable to argue with him, had to follow the group back to the common room. Disappointed, the troll attack had thrown everyone off. Nobody could relax and go to bed. They all gathered in the common room, buzzing with theories about how a troll could have shown up in Hogwarts. The speculations got wilder and wilder, more terrifying by the minute. One guy even suggested a mysterious figure was behind it all. Adam couldn't help but glance at him, impressed by the kid's accuracy. While the mysterious figure theory didn't exactly get a lot of traction, all the different speculations were making people increasingly anxious. The professor's reactions and their rumbling stomachs added to the overall unease. Hey, since Hogwarts dinner is cancelled, why don't we Hufflepuffs throw our own Halloween party? Adam suggested, standing up. Yeah, but, that doesn't mean we can sneak into the kitchen. A senior who'd been shut down earlier when he tried to go to the kitchen looked at Bruce and Vivian, already knowing that wasn't going to happen. Right, no kitchen trips. But to celebrate Halloween, I just so happen to have prepared some food. mostly candy, cookies, and some pumpkin pie, at least enough to shut up those grumbling stomachs. Adam glanced at Bruce. If that's okay. Absolutely. Bruce clutched his own stomach. I'm sure the professors won't mind us having a little get-together in the common room. Awesome. What are we waiting for? A hungry Hufflepuff shouted, eyes gleaming. Get the food out here. My wallet's ready, that the other Hufflepuffs eagerly agreed. Adam's food was practically a lifesaver at this point. Hold your horses, we gotta do some prep first. Adam pulled out his wand, walked to the round table in the center of the common room, and announced, all right, everyone, clear the table and make some room. I'm gonna need more space. I got this. Vivian waved her wand, sending the flower pots on the table flying onto the shelves. The table itself grew taller and wider, easily quadrupling in size. Thanks, Vivian, that's perfect. I'll go grab the food. Adam said, heading towards the dormitories. While waiting for Adam's return, the excited Hufflepuffs started redecorating the common room. They pushed the sofas to the side, turned the lampshades into grinning pumpkin heads, and conjured up spooky Halloween decorations on the walls. Adam didn't let their efforts go to waste. By the time they finished decorating, the sweet, rich aroma of pumpkin filled the entire common room. With everyone watching, Adam finally reappeared. Floating behind him were pumpkin-shaped containers overflowing with candy and stacks of golden pumpkin pies. There were also pumpkin-shaped cookies and flagons of pumpkin juice, all sorts of pumpkin-flavored and pumpkin-related treats, both familiar and brand new, lined up and landed on the table. When the table was completely full, there was still plenty of food floating in the air. Put it over here. Cedric turned a sofa against the wall into an impromptu buffet table. Several seniors skilled in transfiguration spells followed suit, conjuring up extra tables. Adam then directed the floating food to land on those. Adam, give us the price already. I'm starving. That the Hufflepuff who'd grabbed the plate earlier lunged toward the table, snatched a pumpkin-shaped pie, and stuffed it into his mouth. A blissful smile spread across his face. It's a buffet this time, all you can eat, no limits on anything, for just 5 sickles per person. Dig in. Since this was a last-minute thing, the candies and treats were conjured from gone cards, meaning they were pretty much free. They were all classmates, so Adam decided on just a symbolic charge. It took a few seconds for everyone to register the all-you-can-eat part, then a huge cheer erupted in the common room. Long live Adam, that what could you even buy with 5 sickles? A butterbeer was 2 sickles. Adam set up his bag in the corner as a makeshift cashier so people could pay. After a quick run to the dorms to get their money and a short queue to pay up, the Hufflepuffs swarmed the tables overflowing with food. The senior with the plate was the first one to reach the table. He grabbed a pumpkin pie and shoved it into his mouth, his face lighting up with joy. Chapter 25 Bernard, I'm terrified. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The common room sofas and chairs weren't exactly open to everyone in Hufflepuff, so, sticking to the idea that a few folks have less say than nobody at all, they turned the furniture into small, round food tables. Now all Hufflepuffs had to stand while they ate, but the little badgers just shrugged it off, saying it was no big deal. They couldn't reach all the food at one table anyway, so they had to bounce around between them, plus, you burn more calories standing up. That night, dinner was a full-blown party in Hufflepuff. Somehow, a couple of professors caught wind of it later. Professor Sprout even brought it up one day when Adam was helping her with the venomous tentacula. You did a wonderful thing, Adam. Food has a way of comforting people, and sweets always bring a smile, don't they? Professor Sprout handed Adam a box of assorted Honeydukes candies, then asked when his shop would be opening, saying she'd love to pop in sometime. She was dying to try that pumpkin pie and the candies all the Hufflepuffs were raving about. Hearing his head of house say all that, Adam felt a little weird. Why did he have this sneaking suspicion he was playing a business simulator? His reputation was up, and he'd unlocked a special customer. Soon after, Adam realized Professor Sprout wasn't the only special customer he'd unlocked. Adam, Cedric stopped by to see you just now. Uther walked into the dorm looking confused, having just passed Cedric. He's placing orders for Professors McGonagall and Dumbledore. Adam's expression was equally complicated, but he quickly refocused on the chess game in front of him. Queen takes bishop. After all their practice, Adam's chess pieces were confident in his abilities. The white queen waved her scepter and smashed the black bishop to pieces. Rook back. Cologne ordered his pieces, looking curiously at Bernard, who came back with Uther. Owl package? What did you get? It's not mine, it's from my parents. I wrote to them about the troll, and they sent me some stuff for self-defense. Bernard opened the package, revealing 2 pistols, 10 boxes of ammunition, and 5 grenades. Adam took one look, and his eyes widened. Holy crap, Bernard, does your family run a side business? I told you, my parents are lawyers, but they know the seller. Sometimes they have cases that get a little dicey. Bernard picked up a revolver under Adam's complicated stare, handling it like a pro as he loaded the bullets. What's that? Cologne had completely lost interest in chess. He stared at what was in Bernard's hand, picking up the round thing from the package. A muggle weapon, probably like a wizard's killing curse. Bernard said nonchalantly, then, glancing at Cologne, added. Don't mess with the pin, it's a white phosphorus grenade. What? X4. Cologne and Uther stared at Bernard in horror, and even Eugene jumped out of bed. Adam looked at Cologne's hand in terror, quickly and carefully snatching the white phosphorus grenade away. Forget guns, they could get this kind of stuff. What kind of shady people did Bernard's parents know? The dorm went dead silent for a second. Bernard looked up, confused. What's wrong? Bernard, your metaphor's a little off. These weapons can kill, sure, but they're not exactly like the killing curse. Adam saw everyone's reaction and realized what the problem was, but then he realized something was wrong. Wait, how do you know about the killing curse? I read about it in a book. Bernard still didn't get why everyone was freaked out. Book? Where'd you find a book with the killing curse in it? Uther asked suspiciously. The library. Bernard looked guilty. Which book in the library? Eugene pressed. Okay, I snuck into the restricted section and saw it. Bernard blurted out. Restricted section? How'd you get in? Cologne's eyes lit up. Uther elbowed him. Wrong focus. Cologne thought for a second and then realized something even more important. Adam, how do you know about the killing curse? Well. Mrs. Pants wouldn't let me in at first, so I taught myself the Alohomora charm and the disillusionment charm. Bernard, finally noticing everyone's weird vibe, confessed everything. Whoa. Adam, knowing how hard those spells were, especially the disillusionment charm, gasped. Was Bernard's talent completely wrong for Hufflepuff? For safety's sake, Adam kindly cautioned. Bernard, there are a lot of books in the restricted section with seriously nasty curses in them. Be careful, okay? As soon as he said that, Adam noticed the other 3 giving him strange looks. I think we need to have a talk with you two about how serious the unforgivable curses are. I don't want to wake up one day and find you guys not in your beds but in Azkaban. Uther said sternly. Eugene and Cologne nodded in agreement. And the restricted section? Why would you go somewhere so dangerous? Adam, who hadn't done anything bad yet but was still getting the lecture, said, No, wait, you guys, let me explain. After some further clarification, Bernard rubbed his chin, suddenly understanding. Okay, but I get why the Imperius Curse and the Cruciatus Curse are unforgivable, but why the killing curse? There are plenty of curses that can kill people, right? Yeah, but the killing curse only kills people. Plus, you have to have a really strong, clear intent to murder someone for it to even work. After Adam said that, Uther and the others looked at him even more strangely. No, I just... Uther patted Adam on the shoulder before he could explain inside. Go apply for citizenship in Egypt. If you end up in Azkaban, I can ask my dad to get you extradited there. Adam was speechless. Thanks, but I don't think I'll need it. Like he said, tons of curses can kill people. Compared to them, the killing curse wasn't even effective enough. Don't look at me. Look at Bernard. I'm just good at theory. His bag of goodies is more likely to get you cuffed than anything I've got, okay, especially white phosphorus grenades. Adam gave his 3 roommates a quick lesson on the dangers of white phosphorus bombs. His roommates looked from Bernard to Adam. Are all muggles this scary? Hey, what's that got to do with me? Adam protested innocently. My parents just want me to be safe at school. Bernard sounded a little guilty at first, but then he straightened up. The troll incident still hasn't been explained. What if we're in danger again? A pistol might not do much against a troll, but white phosphorus should work. I'm a first year, I just got to Hogwarts, and in my first semester, I have to deal with a troll invasion. I was terrified. Can't I have some way to protect myself? What, did he have to be a complete pushover? Adam slapped Bernard on the back. Dude, hook me up with your parents' friend. Chapter 26 Quidditch Culture of Each House. You are listening at novelfull.audio. To Bernard's disappointment, the Black Lake stayed frozen for skating well into November, and nothing weird happened at Hogwarts. Seriously, Eugene? Bernie's bummed. Why are you so disappointed? That it was rare for all 5 of them to grab lunch together in the Great Hall. Cologne shot a look of disbelief at Eugene beside him. He'd actually said what a shame after Bernard's complaint. Somebody had to sneak that troll into Hogwarts. They had a reason. Since they haven't pulled anything since, either they got what they wanted, or they're still plotting something. Uther sliced off a piece of sausage and popped it in his mouth. Eugene nodded in agreement. Cologne scratched his head. His roommates were probably right, but maybe Dumbledore took care of it. He's the greatest wizard of the century, after all. Good point. If Dumbledore handled it, he probably wouldn't tell us. Uther nodded. What do you think, Adam? Eugene looked at Adam. Me? Adam raised an eyebrow. If Eugene agreed with Uther, he wouldn't be asking him this. Had he picked up on something? I think it's not over yet. Just a gut feeling, though. I kinda feel the same way. Just a weird vibe. Eugene usually kept his feelings close to the vest, so the others were silent for a moment. Oh, well, Dumbledore always solves everything, right? Let's talk about something fun, like the Quidditch match tomorrow. Cologne broke the silence. Did everyone hear? Gryffindor's got a freshman as their seeker this year. It's Harry Potter, the boy who lived. Gryffindor versus Slytherin. Honestly, I'm not that excited. Uther quickly changed the subject. Hannah and the others said Slytherin always cheats during the game and will do anything to win. Even if Harry Potter's good, he might not stand a chance unless he snags the golden snitch right off the bat. Despite his words, everyone showed up the next day in the Quidditch stands. This is the first time I've watched Quidditch from this angle. It was pretty loud, so Bernard had to raise his voice. Us too, actually. Cologne leaned on the railing, practically bouncing with excitement. Look, they're coming onto the field. Adam looked down. They were too far away to make out much. The shortest one in red had to be Harry. They had met briefly when school started, but hadn't really connected since. After all, the only classes Gryffindor and Hufflepuff had together were astronomy and history of magic, and Adam tended to keep his distance anyway. A sharp whistle pierced the air, Madame Hooch's silver whistle. The 2 teams shot up into the sky almost simultaneously. Whoa! Exclamations echoed through the stands. Most of them were from freshmen seeing a real Quidditch match for the first time. The quaffle whizzed back and forth between the chasers, the keepers were on high alert, the beaters were protecting their teammates from the bludgers, and the 2 seekers were hovering near the edges, searching for the elusive golden snitch. That's low. Cologne slapped the railing excitedly. He wasn't the only one. The Slytherin beater had aimed a bludger straight at a Gryffindor chaser, nearly knocking him off his broom. "Isn't that a foul?" Bernard's eyes widened. Such blatant aggression was unthinkable in the Muggle world. "Nah, it's within the rules. After all, nobody can guarantee their shot won't hit something by accident." "Well, I guess there's a point." The situation on the field quickly deteriorated. That initial hit seemed to give Slytherin permission to push the boundaries of what could be considered a foul. Madame Hooch's silver whistle kept blowing, but it only seemed to encourage Slytherin to be sneakier, not to encourage any sort of sportsmanship. Even Adam couldn't help but grumble, those guys should replace their snake flag with a "stolen" banner. So shameless. Quidditch rules are like that, too many gray areas for people to exploit. Adam and his friends were at the railing. As the game went on, more students squeezed closer. "It was Cedric who spoke just now," he sighed, watching the chaos unfold. "That's why Hufflepuff always has a hard time winning. We always put having fun first, but it seems like we're the only ones who feel that way." If the Hufflepuff team was really so cutthroat, Cedric wouldn't have opted out. The Hufflepuff team won't cut any player in order to win. Ravenclaw was different. They wanted to win but didn't let training take over their lives. That's why their performance was so unpredictable. As for the Slytherin team, whose tactics were similar to a common thief's. "Look at the field." Cologne's shout made everyone turn their attention back to the game. Harry was struggling to control his broom. It was jerking violently up and down, spinning out of control. "What's going on? Did Harry Potter's broom break?" Cologne stroked his chin. "I heard the school brooms are pretty old models." "The old models are the ones used for flying lessons. The ones used in competition are reliable. Usually only magic can mess with them." Cedric looked grim. "A spell? Slytherin wouldn't dare." Obviously, the most outrageous thing Slytherin did last year was to hit people directly. In a few years, they will not throw spells at each other directly in the sky, right? "I thought you had to stare at someone and say an incantation to cast a spell." "Let's find out who did it." Cologne pumped his fist, but when they scanned the crowd, they couldn't find anyone who fit the bill. No one on the Slytherin team seemed to have done it. "Looks like the worst-case scenario has happened. Someone in the stands is doing it." But how could they find one person in such a huge crowd? Or, when the Hufflepuff team encounters this situation, how should they deal with it? "Maybe it's worse." Eugene spoke suddenly, his eyes narrowed as he watched Harry rising higher into the air. "Maybe whoever's doing this isn't trying to help Slytherin. Maybe they just want to hurt someone." Uther's eyes widened, remembering what Eugene had said yesterday. "You mean, the person who brought the troll into Hogwarts?" Eugene nodded. Chapter 27. A large wave of desserts is coming. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Adam was still taken aback by Eugene's intuition, even though he'd seen it before. "You just feel it? No clues?" Adam asked, skeptical. "Nope, just a hunch." "It's weird." Eugene shook his head. "Doesn't happen often, but when it does, it's usually spot on." Creepy accurate, Adam looked at his classmates, lost in thought, and didn't know what to say. He couldn't exactly blurt out, "Voldemort's chilling on the back of Professor Quirrell's head." Luckily, Eugene's hunches were usually just that, hunches. Everyone's attention snapped back to the game just as the Slytherin team, capitalizing on Harry's distraction, racked up 40 points. Quidditch is all about points, after all. Catching the golden snitch just signals the end. So, even with the snitch's 150 points, if a team's too far behind, there's no chance of catching up. What a bummer. "Looks like Slytherin's gonna take it again," Cedric sighed. "You really want Gryffindor to win that badly?" Cologne asked, a little surprised. "It's not that I want Gryffindor to win, it's that I don't want Slytherin to win. Let's be honest, nobody in this school wants to see Slytherin win the Quidditch Cup, or the House Cup, except for Slytherin themselves." Cedric glanced around to make sure they were alone. "Their victories just cheapen the whole thing, and the way they swagger around afterward." Makes you wanna punch M. You'll see. Seems like Slytherin wins more often than not, Uther observed, watching the Slytherin captain grab the quaffle, ready to score. Cheaters always prosper, I guess, Cedric shrugged, turning to leave. He clearly wasn't sticking around to watch Slytherin celebrate. Suddenly, a roar erupted from the crowd, not the sound of a Slytherin victory. Cedric frowned, pushing his way back to the railing to see what was happening. Harry Potter was on his knees, holding the snitch high above his head. Cedric blinked, then checked the scoreboard. The difference between Gryffindor and Slytherin was nowhere near 150 points. Gryffindor had won. What the heck did I miss? On the way back to the castle, Cedric wore a look of sheer agony. Harry just took off like a rocket, must have spotted the snitch, then dove straight for the ground, and then he's on his knees, coughing, spitting out the snitch. That's it, Cologne explained. Yeah, we didn't really see it either, Adam added, trying to console him. It all happened in the blink of an eye. By the time we figured it out, Harry was already holding the snitch. At least you guys saw something. Cedric sighed, turning to Adam. Could I bum a couple of slices of pumpkin pie to mend my broken heart? Come by my dorm later, Adam groaned. He really shouldn't have shown any sympathy. Sweet, thanks. Cedric clapped Adam on the back and dashed off. Got classes this afternoon, see you after dinner. That the Quidditch match craziness seemed like a fluke, and by the second game, most people had already forgotten about it. Christmas was just around the corner, and Hogwarts was finally feeling festive. You guys aren't going home? Adam asked, packing his trunk and eyeing his roommates, who looked perfectly content. Uther shrugged. My family's in Egypt. Can't afford a plane ticket for just a few days. Cologne sighed. My folks are off stocking up supplies at a dragon farm. I'd just be alone back home. Better to stay here. Eugene was quiet for a moment. I'd rather not go back. The others wisely decided not to pry and turned to Bernard. I want to see how wizards do Christmas. Bernard's eyes were shining. Adam had noticed that this guy was both curious and adventurous. He'd even dared to sneak into the restricted section before. Honestly, Adam wouldn't be surprised if he'd snuck into that room on the 4th floor as well. Well, if you guys are staying, maybe I'll stick around for Christmas too, Adam mused. Nah, don't worry about us. If your family's expecting you, go home. We four won't get lonely, Cologne said with a wave of his hand. Actually, my family doesn't really celebrate Christmas, we're all about Chinese New Year. Christmas is just another holiday. Plus, if you think about it, we could make a killing with some gingerbread men and candy canes. Adam's eyes lit up. Seriously, we could make bank. Adam grabbed a quill and dashed off a letter to his parents. Their reply arrived the morning before Christmas. Yes. Back in the dorm, Adam dropped the letter and the accompanying package. Not only did they say yes, but they sent me ingredients. They know me so well. What's in it? The mention of food immediately woke everyone up. Those who had been pretending to nap suddenly found the strength to crawl out of bed. It was tough to resist a warm bed in this weather. All kinds of sugary stuff, maple syrup, maltose, brown sugar and osmanthus honey. Adam opened the package and lined up the boxes, each with a different sweet scent. His eyes widened when he saw the last item. And glutinous rice? Mom's the best. I still have those red dates I brought. Maybe I'll make some sticky rice cakes. Or 8 treasure rice. I haven't used up all that bean paste from last time. Glurp gulp. The sound of swallowing filled the room. No one really understood, but whatever Adam made was always amazing. Cologne, however, was looking at the small portions of ingredients with concern. There's a lot of different stuff, but not much of anything. Is it really enough to sell? Don't worry, it's plenty. Besides, I've got magic. Adam gathered the ingredients, recipes already forming in his mind. His Halloween plan to conquer Hogwarts with Adam's store had been sidelined. This time, he was determined to show everyone the magic of Eastern cuisine. Chapter 29: A Happy Christmas Dinner. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Adam had every reason to accept Professor Dumbledore's request. From both a publicity and profit standpoint, that afternoon, students who'd heard the buzz were greeted not by the legendary shop, but by a large, hollowed-out box. The menu was still on the wall, but a notice plastered beside it read: "For those who came expecting sweets, grab a numbered slip from the box. A mysterious surprise awaits you at dinner. Stay tuned." Harry and Ron, finally rolling out of bed after enjoying Seamus Finnegan's treats, arrived with curiosity and eyed the message. "What do you think it'll be?" Harry wondered. "Maybe like, a fancy firecracker." Ron guessed. Those colorful firecrackers had made an appearance at lunch, exploding with vibrant smoke and spitting out little toys. "A fun surprise, for sure. But if it's just that, why the extra sentence?" Harry pointed out. Whatever it was, they each grabbed a number from the box. Ron tried to snag a few more, but he nearly tumbled headfirst into the box and gave up. As everyone anticipated, the Christmas dinner began on schedule. The doors to the Great Hall, closed at Adam's request, slowly swung open, revealing a magical scene. The air hung thick with the aroma of honey, caramel, and fruit. The dishes were unlike any they'd seen before, causing every student who entered to audibly gulp. "They put flowers on the table," exclaimed a Ravenclaw girl, leaning in to smell a rose. The fragrance wasn't just floral, though, it had a sweet undertone. "Wait a minute, this isn't a real flower, is it?" "Of course it is. I mean, look." Before her friend could finish, she plucked the rose and popped it into her mouth. It's pastry. Amazing." The flower practically melted in her mouth, the intense rose flavor and delicate sweetness dancing on her tongue. Her friend, intrigued, hesitantly plucked a rose and tried it herself. Roses weren't poisonous, right? Soon, she was just as lost in the deliciousness. After a moment, the first Ravenclaw opened her eyes, peering suspiciously at other decorations that didn't quite look like food. "Like the unlit candlesticks. This is chocolate," a Gryffindor shouted, having apparently taken a bite out of one. "This is cake," announced a Slytherin who'd sampled a tiny snowman. "This is candy," exclaimed a Gryffindor, incredulous, after munching on a miniature Christmas tree. "These are cookies," a Hufflepuff declared, nibbling on a sprig of mistletoe. "Ouch! This is the table," cried a Gryffindor who'd confidently chomped on the table itself, egged on by his brother. "Ahem." Professor Dumbledore, seeing the decorations disappearing at an alarming rate, tapped his goblet to get everyone's attention. "As you've all noticed, tonight's dinner is a bit different. These new and delicious treats are thanks to Mr. Adam Reed." Adam stood and waved to the crowd. "Before we begin, I must add one thing. Adam has shown remarkable ingenuity with the decorations, but I encourage you to focus on the actual food." Dumbledore glanced pointedly toward the Gryffindor table. Adam followed his gaze and saw two identical boys hastily shoving a branch back under the table, the Weasley twins. Of course. He hadn't thought to make an entire Christmas tree edible. Where did they even get it? Wait, Adam looked back at the large Christmas trees lining the hall and spotted a gap in one. Specifically, Professor Dumbledore added dryly, "Leave the non-table decorations alone. I assure you, they are not edible." The dinner allowed all the students at Hogwarts for Christmas to experience the treats from Adam's shop. These delicious and inventive sweets left a lasting impression. The professors were pleased, and the students were thrilled. Hogwarts Christmases were usually the same, but this year's novelty gave everyone a hearty appetite. Adam witnessed Professor McGonagall devour half a pot of stewed fish soup, and Hagrid demolish 6 elbow roasts per person, requiring Adam to subtly instruct the house elves to provide more. Professor Dumbledore was also very content. The professors had carefully planned the layout of the auditorium, but it didn't matter that only a few people came. But Adam did nothing wrong. Although there was no precedent, Hogwarts did not allow students to be on campus. School rules for normal business operations, it was a win-win. The dinner was a hit, and student interest in his shop was soaring. Sure, it cost a bit, but it was the school's money, and Adam. He was probably the happiest of all, though the holiday students were only a fraction of the school, they were spread far and wide, and every professor had tried something from his shop. That was priceless advertising. He'd even cleverly put the name of each treat on the food container, so everyone would remember their favorites for next time, and the best part? He hadn't spent a dime, and he'd made a fortune. Back in the dorm, even Uther was curious. So, how much did you rake in tonight? Hee, just a little, Adam said, pinching his fingers together. Looks like a lot of money, but you really deserve it. Cologne patted his stomach and settled into the sofa. Adam, you absolutely have to open a shop after graduation. Why not Hogsmeade? It's only about 50,000 galleons to buy a place there. The best part was it was right next to his house. Deal. I can experiment with dishes made with magical creatures and buy them directly from you. Absolutely. I'll give you a discount. Hearing their plans, Eugene chimed in. If you're opening a store, I think Diagon Alley is better. It's more expensive, but the traffic is higher. You could rent first. Actually, I prefer Hogsmeade, Adam said. The stores in Diagon Alley are too close together. It doesn't fit the kind of restaurant I have in mind. You want to open a Black Swan in the Wizarding World? Bernard asked, surprised. Black Swan was the name of Mr. Reed's French restaurant. Definitely not calling it Black Swan. I haven't decided on a name yet. And the decor would fit the Wizarding World, but that's the kind of vibe I'm going for. Chapter 30 Precious Gift. You are listening at novelfull.audio. When Adam woke up, Cologne was already hunched over the round table, scribbling like crazy. What time did you get up? Adam asked, stretching. Cologne coughed, looking sheepish. I didn't sleep. Just pulled an all-nighter. I was having so much fun, and now it's the last day, he continued. I was a mess last night, tossing and turning. Finally, I just got up, grabbed my homework, and went to town on it. Adam, used to Cologne's procrastination, glanced under the Christmas tree. Did you open your presents yet? Not yet. Figured I'd save it as a reward for finishing this. Ah ha ha, Cologne yawned, as if on cue. This wasn't the first time he'd crammed all night. Adam just shook his head, walked over to the tree, and picked up his own gift. Tear into mine first. Cologne urged. All right. Adam found the gift from Cologne and ripped it open. Inside? A pair of chopsticks. These are. Cologne beamed. Chopsticks made from unicorn horn, that he elaborated proudly. Unicorn horn can detoxify. You're always eating weird stuff, planning to cook with magical critters and plants. With these, you won't have to worry about getting poisoned. Thanks. I love them. Adam said, genuinely pleased. What foodie could resist a pair of detoxifying chopsticks? But these things had to cost a fortune. So, what did you get me? Cologne asked, then quickly backtracked. Oh, wait. Don't tell me. Gotta wait till I finish my homework to open it myself. With that, he dove back into his books. Adam shook his head, chuckling. He knew Cologne well enough to guess that his gift was probably valuable, which meant his own gift had to be special. Cologne had a ton of magical animal stuff, so he'd probably like it, a phoenix feather. He'd gotten it as a surprise from Fawkes once. At first, he thought he'd handled him too roughly, but Professor Dumbledore explained it was a gift, given because Fawkes liked him. Come to think of it, Ollivander hadn't just grabbed a phoenix tail feather to make his wand. The phoenix shed them naturally. Now, Adam had accumulated so many feathers, he even had some phoenix tears. Time to keep opening presents. Uther's gift was a scarab amulet, featuring a huge, valuable-looking green gemstone. Bernard sent a box of parts. After rummaging around, Adam found the instruction manual. It was a disassembled Barrett rifle. Another day to lament that his roommate could be so dangerous. Eugene's gift surprised Adam. It looked like just a bottle of clear liquid, but Adam could sense a massive amount of magic within. What is this? Potion. Potions weren't usually transparent, but Adam cast a revealing charm anyway. Turns out, the liquid wasn't a potion at all. That's a bottle of spring water, Eugene said. Adam turned to see Eugene sitting up in bed, looking like he'd just woken up. Spring water. Yeah, from the Fountain of Fair Fortune. Ever heard of it? The Fountain of Fair Fortune. Sounds familiar. Ah. Isn't that the fairy tale from the tales of Beetle the Bard? Bathing in it grants permanent good luck, but there's actually nothing magical about it. Cologne's attention was caught again. You better get back to work. The professors really piled on the homework this time. After coaxing Cologne back to his work, Adam looked at Eugene, curious. Is this really water from the Fountain of Fair Fortune? Honestly, I don't know. It's just a fairy tale, well, a wizarding fairy tale. My parents have dedicated their lives to studying these stories and anecdotes. I barely see them, but they occasionally send things and money back from Gringotts. It's all piling up, and I'm not even sure they look like the portraits back home anymore. Eugene sighed, opening up about his parents for the first time. But it might actually be the water from the Fountain of Fair Fortune. Even if it isn't, it's gotta be something good, otherwise they wouldn't store it in the deepest vault at Gringotts. Huh? Deepest vault? Who's got money to burn? Uther mumbled, sleepily climbing out of bed. No kidding. Seems like nobody in this dorm is hurting for cash. Adam couldn't help but joke. Compared to Eugene's hidden wealth, his family seemed practically broke. He then looked at Eugene with concern. Gringotts' secret vault. That's the Wizarding Bank, right? Yeah, I know. I just mean, aren't your parents gonna be mad if you just give their treasured possessions away as gifts? It's alright. I grew up with my grandma, didn't have many friends. Before coming to Hogwarts, she pulled out the bottle of Fair Fortune water from the secret vault and told me to take it with me. She wanted me to have good luck and find some friends. Eugene looked at Cologne, who had put down his pen, and then at Adam, Uther, and Bernard, still asleep. He smiled slightly. Turns out, before I even needed the Fountain of Fair Fortune, I found the best friends in the world. So, I'm dividing the bottle into 4 parts and giving them to you. Adam held the bottle tightly. Whether it was water from the Fountain of Fair Fortune or not, its sentimental value far outweighed any magical properties. I'll keep it safe, he said. Seeing Adam's expression, Eugene grinned even wider. Don't treasure it too much. It could just be a bottle of ordinary water. You know how research goes. Despite his words, everyone carefully stowed away their share of the Fountain of Fair Fortune. Adam was pretty popular, so it was almost noon by the time they finished opening gifts. Most of the others were just from casual friends, basically just little thank you tokens. Adam made sure everyone he gave gifts to had received one, and then didn't worry about it too much. As they headed for lunch, Bernie stopped Adam just as he entered the common room. The Weasley twins are waiting for you outside. What? Adam asked, stunned. Bernie clarified, you know, the twins who won the prizes last night. Adam had asked everyone who went to the North Tower to take a number. During dinner, he'd asked Professor Dumbledore and the 4 heads of house to draw a number from the box, 1 grand prize and 4 smaller ones. The older twin, Fred, was drawn by Professor Dumbledore and won the mysterious grand prize, a replica of the Hogwarts cookie house. By the way, Professor Snape had drawn Harry's number, and he'd looked at his hand like it was covered in grime. What do they want with me? I'll go see. You guys head to the hall first. Okay. We'll save you a spot.